Hi, welcome to my channel. In the previous video, I explained knapsack problem under greedy method. Now, in this video, I am going to explain job sequencing with deadlines under knapsack under greedy method. Then, first of all, I am going to give the definition of job sequencing with deadlines. After that, I will take one example. Then, what do you mean by job sequencing with deadlines? So, here by using greedy method, we can solve this particular problem. But the definition of this is, I will tell you first. I will tell you definition. Here we are assuming that only one processor is there for processing the jobs. One processor is there. Only one processor is there. And by using this processor, we are going to execute all the jobs. But the aim of this job sequencing with deadline is we need to arrange all the jobs in such a way that so if you give those jobs in the sequence to processor, after execution of all the jobs, we get the maximum profit. So ultimate target is here we are targeting profit now. Okay. So I can give the definition based on this. So one processor is there. So we need to sequence all the jobs. So sequencing jobs on one processor. Here we have only one processor. Sequencing jobs on one processor based on profit constraint. Here constraint is profit. Profit constraints. Because if you observe the input for this job sequencing with deadlines, now jobs are like this. So job 1, job 2, so on job n is there like this. Okay, na? These are n given jobs and each job is associated with two values. One is deadline, another one is profit. So D1, D1, D2, P2, so on Dn, Pn. So the job 1 has its own deadline D1. If we execute this job completely by using this processor, we get this much profit. And job P is having its own deadline. So like that, job N is also having its own deadline. Then what is the target of job sequencing with the deadlines? Maximizing the profit. You must get profit, maximum profit by selecting any sequence, because by using the job sequencing with the deadlines, we can construct a set of jobs. We can construct set of jobs. So if you execute this set of jobs in the sequence, we get maximum profit because each job is associated with its own profit. So target is summation of pi. This must be maximum. So maximize summation of pi. What is I here? I should be belonging to job set. Okay, or j, whatever it may be. J should be belonging to job set j. Here our ultimate target is constructing subset of the jobs j. Okay, so whatever the jobs you include, after executing all the jobs by using processor, you must get the maximum profit. So that's why this is maximum. So maximizing pi means total profit which we can obtain by executing all the jobs, all the selected jobs, where j of ji, the small ji should belong into j, because capital J is all the selected jobs set. Capital J is all the selected jobs set. So this is the target. So what is the constraint now? What is the constraint? Profit is the constraint. So whenever you select any job in this particular moment, because we process this particular problem or any other problem under greedy method in stepwise. At each step we are supposed to select maximum profit job, and we need to also take care at the deadline also. Okay, na? So I will show you how the jobs can be executed. We cannot, sometimes it is not possible executing the jobs in selected sequence, because execution sequence is different. Okay, na? So D1, D2, D3, so on Dn are the jobs of deadlines of the given jobs, and if we execute all the jobs within the deadline, we get P1, P2, so on Pn are the profits. Okay, I will tell you what is the deadline and how we can select all the jobs under job sequencing within deadline, so that we get the maximum profit Pi. Now I am going to take one example, and I can also relate that particular example with the real-time example, and I can show you how we can solve that particular job sequencing with the deadline example. Anyway, I have one example now, but I am going to relate it with real-time example. Suppose if job J1 is there, its deadline is 1. I will tell you what is 1, what is 2 and what is 3. And if you execute this job within this deadline 1, we get profit as 150. Okay, na? And J2 has deadline 2. If you execute that particular job within deadline, then we get the profit as 80. So like that, J3 is also having deadline 2, but if you execute it, we get 60. And J4 is having its own deadline 3, and profit is 40. And J5 is having its own deadline 1, but profit is 30. Okay, na? Suppose if jobs are arranged here, we have luckily we have profits in decreasing order. Otherwise, if profits are not there in decreasing order, according to greedy method, so according to straightforward greedy method, arrange all the jobs in profit decreasing order. Okay, na? Profit decrease. Earlier, the J3 may be here and J4 may be here, J5 may be here. Okay, na? But after arranging all the jobs in profit decreasing order, we got the jobs now. Okay, na? Now this job is becoming first job, second job, third job. Earlier, the order is different. Earlier 30 may be here under J1 and 40 may be here under J2, like that. But after arranging all the jobs in deadline decreasing order, now I got this is P1, profit P2, profit P3, profit P4 and profit P5. This is job deadline D1, D2, D3, D4, D5. But what is deadline 1, deadline 2, deadline 3? I will tell you. Okay, the deadline 1 means, so suppose if I relate it to real time example, like suppose if you go to registration office, either house registration or land registration. So generally that registration is requiring so many documents, yes or no? That registration is requiring so many documents. But outside of a registration office, if you see, there are so many computer centers. They are open. Computer centers, they are open. But their job is preparing the document according to the requirements required under registration. Okay, so assume that this is job J1 or person 1, person 2, person 3. They are having their own deadlines. So person one is requiring job is very urgent. He is requiring his document within first hour. So means these deadlines are 1, 2, 2, 3, 1. These deadlines may be hours, minutes or days. Okay, na? Suppose if you take any job, J1. So what do you mean by deadline? So generally the jobs starts with 0th hour. So deadline 1 means the job must be executed within 1 hour, or that deadline 1 may be minutes or hours. Okay, na? So within first hour, the job of the first person should be completed. What do you mean by deadline 2? Either in first hour or second hour, because our target is this. Our whatever the processor we use, that processor is requiring 1 unit time to execute all this. 1 unit time to execute all the jobs. 1 unit means same like this. This is 1 unit deadline. This is 2 units deadline. This is 2 units deadline. This is 3 units deadline. And this is 1 unit deadline. Okay, na? Here we are using only one processor. Means only one machine is there. Or only one shop is there. Okay, so just all the persons have approached that particular shop for full finishing their jobs, but no one is ready to wait beyond 3 hours or 3 minutes or 3 days, whatever it may be. If we relate deadline with the days or units or hours or minutes, whatever it may be. Okay, na? So no one is ready to wait beyond 3 hours if you relate it to 3 hours. But each job is, assume that each job is requiring only 1 hour time for finishing. Okay, na? So the deadline 1 means he cannot wait beyond 1 hour. Okay, na? He is requiring his job finishing within 1 hour, first hour. So job J1 must be finished here. And job J5 also should be finished here, because he is also requiring first hour only. And J2 means we can execute J2 here or here, but because this J2 is requiring only 1 hour, all the jobs are requiring only 1 hour, but he can wait up to 2 hours. Okay, na? Then J2 and J3, there is a possibility of executing J2 and J3, but only one job. The person can process only one job, or if you treat them as software jobs, then only one processor is there. Then the processor can execute either J2 or J3. Here also, the processor can execute either J1 or J5. Okay, na? So but within two hours deadline, J2 and J3 must be executed. Within 1 hour deadline, J1 or J5 must be executed. And what about third one is the fourth person can wait up to 3 hours. Then 2 to 3 slot J4 can be executed. But see here, only one job. Within this deadline, either J1 or J5 can be executed. Within this deadline, either J2 or J5 can be executed. But only one job within this slot can be executed. But what about fourth person job? He can wait up to 3 hours. Suppose if you start at 9 o'clock or 10, if you start at 10, if you start your shop at 10, then documentation preparation is required for each person is 1 hour. Then the shop person can take either J1 or J5 within first hour, and J2 or J3 at between first hour and second hour, and between second and third hour he can take fourth person job. But please remember here, within 1 hour he can execute only one person job. Here also he can execute only one person job. Then what is the constraint here? Constraint is profit is the constraint, because our ultimate target is getting the maximum profit from this particular job. Okay, na? Maximum profit from this particular job. That's why I arranged all the jobs in profit decreasing order, irrespective of the deadlines. I arranged all the jobs in profit decreasing order. Now I'm placing maximum profit job first, next maximum profit, and last slot is occupied with the least profit compared to all the remaining jobs in this. Okay, na? So I think I am clear. I explained clearly what is the time slot. Time slot means at 10 o'clock the time starts at 0. 10 to 11 is one time slot. 1 to 2 is second time slot. 2 to means 10 to 11. 11 to 12. 12 to 1 is the time slots. This is 11, and 11 to 12 is second time slot, and 12 to 1 p.m. is third time slot. But this person can wait up to 1 o'clock. But these two persons can wait up to only 12 o'clock, because within two time slots these two jobs must be executed. But the constraint is profit is the constraint. And not only this, within one time slot he can execute only one job, like the processor. Suppose if we treat them as software jobs or programs, processor can execute only one job at a time. Here we are also taking a constraint as only one processor is available. Then processor can handle one job at a time, because each job is requiring 1 hour time or 1 minute time, one day time, whatever it may be. That is based on units you are taking. Okay, so here only one job is executed, that is J1 or J5. That is based on constraint, maximum profit, based on maximum profit. Here also either J2 or J3 can be executed, that too based on profit as a constraint. And here J4 can be executed. J4 only executed because all the remaining must be executed within those given deadlines. Okay, now I am going to show how we can solve this particular problem. After that, of course, we can also use a trial and error method for solving the problem by taking the pairs of jobs. I will show you that also. And just by using direct method, like the direct greedy method or straightforward greedy method, how we can solve the jobs. First, I am going to show. After that, I will tell you trial and error method also. Now I am going to show how this jobs can be executed these time slots, because the maximum time slot is 3 only. So that's why I took 3 slots. One is 0 to 1, another one is 1 to 2, third one is 2 to 3. Anyway, I arranged all the jobs in profit decreasing order. Whatever the order that is given in input, you are supposed to arrange them in profit decreasing order and name first job as J1, second job as J2, and so on. Okay. Now, what is the first job deadline? 150 is the first job deadline. First job profit. Now we are going to select first job first. And what is the deadline of first job? 1 only. Then I must execute the job here, J1. But we suppose if first job deadline is 2, better execute that job at 1 to 2 slot, because beyond 2 we cannot execute, but within before reaching 2 we can execute this job here. Because if the job 1 deadline is 2 units, better execute job 1 here, because if you execute job 1, suppose next job deadline is 1 unit, that is having maximum profit, we cannot execute here, because next job deadline is 1 unit, but this job deadline is 2 units. I can execute J1 here and here also, because if job 1 deadline is 2 units, I can execute job 1 here also, job 1 here and here, but it is better execute that particular job at last possible slot. So if you execute that job as last possible slot, then it gives the chance to the next job if the next highest job profit job is having deadline 1 unit. Okay, na? So it is better execute the given job at its worst case slot or maximum slot. Okay. Now, but luckily we have job 1 deadline is 1 unit here. Okay, na? Then we must execute job 1 here only. We cannot execute here, because within one hour we must execute, otherwise it will expire. Okay. Then what about next maximum profit maximum profit job related deadline? Next maximum profit job related deadline is 2 units. Then I can execute job 2 here only. Okay, na? Suppose here already 1 job is occupied, then go back to previous slot and verify. Okay, the previous slot and verify, but job 2 only here there is no job executed here, then I can directly use this slot for executing J2. Then what about next maximum profit job? Next maximum profit is J3. Then what about the deadline of J3? 2 units. Then first verify the last slot here. Last slot is 1 to 2. Then but I cannot solve, because J2 is already occupied here. Then go back if the previous slot is free or not. Then go back and verify previous slot is free or not. No, previous slot is not free. Then I cannot execute J3 here. I cannot execute J3. And then go to J4. Next maximum profit job is J4. What is J4 deadline? J4 deadline is 3. Then third slot, last slot is 3. Then I can execute J4 here. I can execute J4 here. Then I am also writing profits here. 150. If you execute the job J1 here, then I get profit. J2, I get profit as 80. J3 I cannot execute because J3 also requiring maximum deadline as 2 units. Then I am supposed to execute that job in between 1 and 2 slot, means 1 and 2, but 1 and 2 is occupied, means J2 is already executed here. And then I am supposed to verify whether previous slot is free or not, because I cannot go beyond this, because he is also requiring its job finishing within 2 hours. But every job is requiring 1 hour time only. Okay. Then I am going back to this slot for verifying, but that slot is also occupied. That's why I rejected J3 for execution. Then anyway J4 is requiring 3 units deadline, means 3 at third slot also I can execute. Okay na? So that's why in the worst case I am selecting last slot, because if previous slots are free, then I am going to execute next maximum profit if that particular job is having deadline less than this. Okay, now I can execute J4 here only. Then profit I can get is 40. Profit I get is 40. Okay, then what about next job? Next job is J5. Next job is J5. What is deadline of J5? 1. Deadline of J5 is 1. Then 1 is occupied already. So this is the solution for this particular problem. Now I am going to show the tabular method for showing this solution. Is it clear up to this? Because J1, J2, J3, J4, J5 are the jobs, and 1, 2, 2, 3, 1 are deadlines, and 150, 80, 60, 40, 30 are profits, because I took all the jobs, because I changed earlier, original order may be different, but I changed all the jobs in profit decreasing order, and I am also arranged the respective profits. I am also took respect to profits, respect to deadlines here. Okay na? So in this way I can execute the job according to greedy method and the job sequencing with deadlines. Okay. Now I am going to show one table for showing the answer for this particular problem. So this is the time slots arrangement. 0 to 1 is the first hour arrangement, or first minute or first day. 1 to 2 is the second day, and 2 to 3 is the third day. So better execute any, if any job deadline is 2, then better execute that particular job within 1 and 2 slot. If any job deadline is 3, better execute that job in 2 to 3. So why? Because suppose if you execute any this particular J4 here, then we lose the chance of executing the respective job which is having next maximum profit. So that's why better execute any job, any selected job, better execute it in last possible slot. Then only we can execute remaining jobs if those jobs having next maximum profit, that too the time deadline is less than this. Otherwise, if you execute J2 here, I cannot execute J1, then I lose 150 units profit. So like that. So okay, so in this way, if we execute, we get the maximum profit. Then how much profit I got? 150 is the profit after executing J2, J1, and 80 I get the profit after executing J2. J3 I cannot execute, and J4 if you execute, then I get the profit as 40. J5 I cannot execute because maximum time slot is 3 only. Then 150 plus 80, 150 plus 80, 230 plus 40, 270 profit I get. The maximum profit I can get is 270 if you follow this side forward greedy approach under job sequencing with deadlines. Now I will show you how the jobs can be executed by using this table. Now, if you see the jobs profits, the first job is having highest profit. I already explained. Okay, now select first job. Select first job or J1 or J, whatever it may be. Select first job. Now, what is the selected sequence? J1 is selected, only one job is there. Then same sequence in the same sequence I can execute the job 1. Then how much profit I can get? 150. The profit 150 I can get. Okay, na? Then what is the next maximum profit job? Next maximum profit is job is 2. Okay, na? Job J2. So selected sequence is J1 is selected first and J2 selected next. So what is the deadline of J2? 2 units is the deadline. Then I must execute J1 first, followed by J2, because J2 deadline is 2. Then before executing the second slot I can execute J2, but anyway first slot is occupied with first job. Then I must execute the jobs, selected jobs in the J1 J2 sequence only. If you execute jobs successfully, then I can get profit as 80. Then the total profit obtained up to this is 150 plus 80. Okay. Then what is the next maximum profit job? Next maximum profit job is J3. But I am going to verify whether J1, J2, J3 sequence is possible or not. J1, J2, J3. I have already shown in time slot 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3 time slot. Here J1 is executed and J2 is executed, and J3 is also requiring second slot. First verify whether second slot is free or not. No, this slot is not free. Then go back to previous slot. If previous slot is free or not. No, previous slot is not free. Even if select J3, though that particular J3 has maximum profit, then I cannot execute J3 because J3 is occupied in the required slot. Even if you go back and verify the previous slot is also occupied with the first job. Okay, so I cannot execute the J3. A selected sequence is J1, J2, J3. Though J3 is greater than profit is greater than remaining jobs, I cannot execute here because execution is not possible. Then execution sequence is J1, J2 only. I cannot execute because J3 is rejected. J3 is rejected. Till this moment, I got only 150 plus 80 as the profit. Then what is the next maximum profit job? Next maximum profit job is J4. Next maximum profit job is J4. Okay, now use J1, J2, J4 is the selection sequence. Okay, now then what is execution sequence? Execution sequence is first job is executed first because that particular job has deadline 1 unit, and anyway second job is executed next because that job has second deadline. We must execute it in second deadline only. Then what about fourth job? Fourth job deadline is third unit, 3 units. Then I must execute fourth job after executing J1, J2 only because previous 2 slots are already occupied. Here we are supposed to execute the job at its worst case time slot, means last time slot. Then only we get the maximum profit. So if you execute J3 after J1 and J2, what is J3? If you execute completely, then we get J4 profit 40. J4 profit 40. Then up to this I got profit as 150 plus 80 plus 40. Anyway J3 is rejected. Then what about next maximum profit job? Next maximum profit is J5. Next maximum profit is J5. Even include J5 here. J1, J2, J4. If you try to include the job here, J5 deadline is 1 unit. Then at first time slot J1 is occupied. Then it is not possible executing. Then we get the same sequence, earlier sequence J1, J2 and J4. J1, J2 and J4. Then what is the J4 profit? J4 profit is 40. J5 profit is 30, but we cannot get. The J5 is rejected because all the slots are occupied. J5 is also rejected. Then how much profit I got? 150 plus 80, 230 plus 40, 270 profit I got. But the execution job sequence is first we are going to execute J1 first because it is having maximum profit. I cannot execute J1 at time slot, second time slot because within first hour I am supposed to get the result. What about J2? J2 required J2 profit is 80, but it is required deadline is 2 units. I cannot execute at the one because one is already occupied. I have already told better execute at the last time slot. Then only that particular job gives chance to the remaining jobs. If the remaining jobs deadline is less than this, okay, I can execute here. Then what about next job profit is 60, but deadline is 2. Second slot is already occupied. Even you verify the previous slot, if previous slot is free or not, previous slot is occupied with J1, then I cannot execute J3. J3 is rejected. Okay, now, though that particular job has maximum profit than rest of the jobs. Then next job is J4 because it is having my next maximum profit than the last job. But J4 last time slot means deadline is 3, then I can execute it at last time slot. Then after executing last time slot, if you select J5 deadline is 1 unit, I cannot execute because first time slot is already occupied. Then the job sequence is, the executed job sequence is J1 followed by J2 followed by J4. Sometimes why I am taking execution sequence is, suppose if J1 time slot is 2 units, assume J1 time slot is 2 units and J2 time slot is 1 unit. J2 time slot is 1 unit. Okay, so selection sequence is J1 and J2 only. Initially, there is no job in this set J. There is no job in the set J. That's why I directly took J1 directly. Then execution sequence is also same. But after selecting J2, what is J2 time slot? J2 time slot is 1 unit and J1 time slot is 2 units. Okay, anyway, if one job is there, then I can execute that job at the first slot or second slot. But after selecting J2 is requiring deadline is 1 unit and J1 is requiring deadline is 2 units. Then I can execute J2 at the second time slot. I can execute J2 at the second time slot, J1 at the second time slot. But J2 required deadline is 1 unit. Then I can execute J1 here, J2 here. Okay, na? So execution sequence is changed now. Because if J1 deadline is 2 units and J2 deadline is 1 unit, I cannot execute J1 followed by J2, because J2 deadline is 1 means I must finish J2 before crossing 1 time slot 1. So that's why I must execute J2 followed by J1. So for that only I am taking execution sequence, because selected sequence is not possible sometimes. That's why we need to change the execution sequence also based on required deadlines. So that's why in this way I can solve any problem. You can take any example and you can solve like this. And I am also going to show you what is the worst case. So means trial and error. In trial and error I am explaining here only. Suppose if you execute individual jobs, if you select individual jobs, I cannot get maximum profit. So with the combination only I can get the profits. But we need to take the pairs of jobs. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4. Like that, we need to construct a pair of jobs. Then select the which pair is producing maximum profit. So that is trial and error method. It takes longer time for solving. So it is the best method. Just take the rows, or we can also solve like this, just by taking time slots and arrange time slots as 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and select first job. If first job deadline is 2, then execute first job in 1 to 2. If first job deadline is 1, then execute within 0 and 1. If second job deadline is 2, then execute 2 here. If 2 is not for free, then go back. Suppose if first job deadline is 2, second job deadline is also 2. First job deadline is 2, second job deadline is also 2. Then initially we are going to execute J1 in 1 to 2 slot. 1 to 2 slot. Then what about J2? J2 is also having deadline too. First we are going to verify whether any job is occupied in this location or not. Now J1 is occupied. Then go back to previous slot. Go back to previous slot and verify whether previous slot is free or not. Because before crossing 2, I must execute J2. Before crossing 2, I must execute J1. So, but J1 is appearing first in the job sequencing. So that's why I am going to execute J2 at the last time slot, and J1 at the last time slot. J2 is also requiring same deadline. So that's why initially I am verifying whether last time slot is possible for executing J2 or not, because last time slot for that is 1 to 2, because maximum deadline is 2 units only. Then I am going back to previous slot and verifying if previous slot is free, then I can execute J2 here. So like that, that's why I am taking execution sequence here. Okay. So here jobs are arranged in deadline increasing order. Once you execute all the jobs, selected jobs, if you observe the sequence, that sequence is exhibiting the jobs execution in deadline increasing order, but the job selection is profit decreasing order. So then only we get the maximum profit from job sequencing with deadline problem. Okay, so this is about job sequencing with deadline. The next video I am going to explain next problem. Thank you for watching my video. Thank you.